Hello and welcome to episode 18 of my knitting podcast. My name is Noma and I'm recording from Johannesburg, South Africa. So I've got quite a bit to share today, including 5 finished objects, a couple of works in progress and some new yarn that I've acquired. So let's get started. First of all, I'll talk about what I'm wearing as usual. So today I'm wearing the Nandi top. It's a beautiful spring day. It's nice and sunny. It's actually quite hot today. So I'm wearing this top. It's the Nandi top. I think I launched it 2 years ago. That was 2022. Yeah. So it's worked from the top down. It's a circular yoke, as you can see. And it's got this simple lace pattern that's got some slipped stitches that give it this cabled look. But it's basically some lace and some slipped stitches. So it's a very fun one to work on. It's knit with Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton and the color is vanilla. So it's a very basic color, very basic top. And I think currently it's my most worn top because of the color. And I'm beginning to realize that I need more of these very neutral off-white pieces in my wardrobe. So I'll talk more about that a little later. So this pattern is available on Ravelry and Etsy. I don't think I have it on Love Crafts because I haven't been uploading there of late. So it's the Nandi top. Actually, there's a Nandi Pullover that's worked in fingering weight yarn, and the construction is slightly different from this, but it's a long-sleeved top. It's a pullover, not a top. It's a long-sleeved pullover, and it's got a rolled edge and at the hem as well, whereas this one has got a ribbed edge and a ribbed hem. So both patterns are available on Ravelry and on Etsy. So let's get started on the finished objects because, like I said, I've got 5 of them. The first one that I want to share is a pattern that's probably going to be live by the time this video launches. It's the Lilitha Scarf. Let me show you. This is the scarf. It's called Lilitha. And it's worked from one point to the end. I think it starts from this side and there are increases whilst shaping the lace, and then it goes. Okay, let me bring this a bit closer. So this is the pattern. It was a very fun one to knit. I enjoyed working on this so much. So it's very simple. Basically what you do is first you weigh your yarn before you start on the project. Without the labels or anything, you just weigh the yarn on its own, and then you work to this point where all the increases are done, and then weigh again to see how much you used for the increases. So I think I used about 4 grams only for this section, or even 3, I think. So I just rounded it up to 4 just in case, and then I worked all the way through using this lace pattern, and then when I got to the end I just did some decreases. So you just make sure that you've got slightly more than the yarn that you used for the increase section. So I had about 6 grams of yarn when I did the decreases, and here it is. It's quite long, so let me see if I can put it on without messing up with the microphone. So it's a very long scarf. Okay, let me put it this way. And it's my first cotton scarf. So I realized when the temperatures were warming up that I needed something to add some pop of color in my wardrobe without necessarily being too warm. Even on a slightly cool day, I could actually use something that's not necessarily knit with wool. So I decided to make this cotton scarf, and I really love it. I think it's going to come in handy because we're getting into the rainy season and it's beginning to rain. Okay, this is not symmetrical, but I think you get the picture. So this is how it looks. It's quite long. It can be like up to here when you've got it rolled like this. So I knit this with Purl Soho cotton pure, and the color is peach peony. And as I've mentioned on all my videos in the past, all the yarn that I use from Purl Soho is sponsored. I didn't pay for it myself. So this is a very beautiful sport weight yarn, and it's very crisp, and it's got some very good stitch definition. And not only that, it's also very soft when you're wearing it or when you're knitting with it, so it doesn't feel uncomfortable or anything. I enjoyed working with it so much. The scarf is about 50 something inches long. I've forgotten the exact length, but you can really get so much out of some sport weight, and I think you can even use some light decay for this one. You'll still be able to pull it off. So it's the Lilitha Scarf, and it's going to be live. I'll include the links below when I upload this video. And then the next finished item is this pullover. I can't show all of it here, so I'll just include some photos. It's the Lilitha, no, not the Lilitha, it's the Naleli Pullover. So I'll include the photos. So this one is a very simple and basic raglan pullover, but I've included some very fun details that make it really beautiful and classy. So as you can see, it starts off with this tubular cast on, and it's very beautiful and neat and stretchy. And then you do some double knitting here before you start working on the body to just give it that professional finish. And then you do the raglan. Actually, you start with the short row shaping after the double knitting, and then once the shaping for the neck is done, then you start working on the body in the round. And then at the bottom here, there's some interesting details added to the hem. So the body is just worked straight to a certain point, and then you work on the hem. So the hem is quite interesting because let me remove some fluff. It's curved at the bottom, and it's open. So the front and the back are open. It's shaped like this. You decrease here, work straight, and then do the curving and pick up at the bottom for the ribbing. So the other thing that I really liked about this project is this surface crochet where I picked up the stitches. So I've been including this quite a bit in my latest projects because it makes the finished piece look so refined. As you can see, you don't see that pickup line because it's covered with the straight crochet. So it's really pretty, and I love the detail. So this pattern is coming out next week, I think on the 28th. That's when it will be live. It's a very simple one, as I mentioned, with a few added details that make it extra special. It's knit with Purl Soho. Again, this is Cashmere Merino Bloom, and the color is Warm Honey. So this yarn is super soft. That's why I did this funnel neck, because I get so itchy when there's some yarn right at the top close to my neck, but it's super soft. The only challenge is that it peels. But I've noticed something quite interesting. Some colors seem to peel a lot more than others. I don't know if there's any science to it or something, but I've noticed that the yarn, the color that I used for my what was that one? There's one pullover that I did, I'm trying to remember the name, and it was the color was an off-white, but it peels even more than this because I've worn this a bit and it hasn't really peeled much. And then the black also peels quite a lot. So I'm not so sure if different colors peel less than others, because this one has definitely peeled a little less than the off-white and the black. And the gray and red that I've used for the Lubanzi pullover didn't really peel that much. So I'm not so sure how that works, but it peels quite a bit, and I still like it, and I'll still work with it because I love the softness and the way it just, the finished item just looks, but it's a lot of work to maintain it. So that's the challenge that I've had with this project, with this type of yarn, sorry. And then the third finished piece that I've got is this. Okay, it's no longer that finished anymore, so I'll explain why. It's the vest, the Hudson Vest. I keep forgetting the names of my patterns today. So the Hudson Vest is worked from the bottom up with this intricate looking yet simple to work pattern. It's very easy to work, and at any given time it's either you crossing only 4 stitches or you're twisting 3 stitches, so you never really work a cable that's larger than that. The cables just travel, and once you get the hang of the pattern, it's very easy to see where you're supposed to go on your next row. So it's worked from the bottom up, and then on every other round you just work the stitches as they present, and you work the cables on the odd numbered rounds. So it's that simple. The neckline is a crew neck. I did I set up a poll on my Instagram for you guys to decide whether you wanted a V-neck or a crew neck, and most of you opted for the crew neck, and that's the one that I liked too. And it was quite interesting because I've noticed that lately, I don't know if it's just me, but the crew neck looks more modern than the V-neck on some of these designs. So that's the one that I did. And because of the heaviness of the cables, I wasn't really happy with the single ribbing on the neck, because I wanted it to be folded, and I only had about 2 meters of yarn left, so I couldn't make it any thicker than this. I wanted it to be folded so that it looks much thicker. And then a few days ago I was going through my swatches and some leftover yarns, and I came across this swatch that I did some years back with this yarn, and I realized that now I've got enough yarn to finish this neckline. So I'm going to pick this off and knit the neck and double up the neck band and fold it over and seam it down. So I'm really happy that I found this, because I wasn't happy with just a single layer. So when I do the photography for this next week, it's going to be a double a folded collar instead of just a single one. I think it will give it more substance because it's a very thick garment and it's sleeveless, and I think it would really look great with a crisp white shirt or even a black shirt. If you're wearing black on black and you just put on this vest, it's just going to pop. So I knit this with the Yarn Collective Hudson worsted yarn, and the color is smoke. Yeah, I still remember some of these colors. It's so good. So this is currently being tested, and it's going to come out in the first week of December, I think around the 6th or the 7th. And then the next item, I started this one after my last recording, so you probably never saw this, but it's a collar. I've always wanted a collar, and unfortunately I can't try it on right now because of the of everything, including the microphone. It's got a turtleneck. I'll just include a picture of the flat lay for this one. It's so hot, there's no way I would be able to wear it right now, but it's got this broken rib pattern, and it really is such a beautiful fabric. Let me try to bring it a bit closer. It's a very beautiful fabric. And then on the edging, because I was carrying the yarns up, I decided to pick the stitches and have this in the main color and have this 1x1 ribbing, which is an Italian sewn bind off to give it that really neat finish. And I did the same at the hem as well. It's just 1x1 ribbing with the Italian sewn bind off end on the collar. Because you know what I like about this bind off is that even if you hold it straight up like this, it looks neat, and then if you roll it down, it also looks very beautiful. So this collar is worked. From here you start off with just the stitches for the back neck, and then you increase down and pick up the stitches for the fronts. You increase down and then you work all the way down, not a little bit. You work all the way down to the hem, and then you pick up the stitches for the fronts and work all the way down. So for the fronts I did some decreases, so it's not straight just like the back, and it's really very warm. I wish I'd had this during the winter months. So it's one of the things that I wanted to do in the winter, and I'm so glad I managed to get it done, although I'll only be able to wear it maybe from next year, May or June. I won't be able to wear it anytime soon. And my sister wants this collar, so I might end up giving it to her. I'll see. The last finished item I have is a project that I started a week ago, and it's already done. I love single skein shawls. Just check this one out. So this is knit with Miss Lamotte merino twist, and the color is Boardwalk. I've had this yarn for a long time. I think I bought it in 2018 or 2019. It's been so long. I finally got to put it to use. So it's a very simple little shawl. Initially, I had planned to do a lace hem, a lace edging. I ended up doing cables instead. But when I started working on it, I realized that it looked very traditional, and I wanted something that's very modern and something that can be worn by, you know, even somebody who's much younger than me. So this is the shawl. It's worked from the top down, and then when you get to a certain point here, you change and you start working on this simple cabled pattern. I don't know whether it shows properly on the camera. So it's done. I'm putting it up for testing probably today. No, not today. I have to launch. I'll be launching a new pattern, so I'll put this up tomorrow. It's probably going to launch after Christmas, but before next year. It might be my last pattern that launches this year. So if you're interested in testing, I would probably put this on my newsletter or on my stories. So if you follow me on Instagram, you're probably not gonna miss it. I'll have it on my stories and even on my feed in the next 2 days. So those are all the 5 items that I've finished. It's been quite a lot of work, but I've enjoyed the whole process of knitting these pieces. There's stuff that's kind of hibernating right now, but I'll just share what I'm actively working on at the moment. Okay, so the last time I recorded, I was still waiting for the yarn for this shirt. It's called the Gugulethu Shirt. It's knit with Myak baby yak lace in the color Oatmeal, and it's knit with the yarn held double, as you can see. So I've said quite a bit about this, but anyway, as you can see, I've rolled this up into a ball instead of the cakes that I normally make when I'm winding my skeins. So this yarn is super soft and it breaks quite easily. So I noticed that when I was knitting with the 2 cakes and just working them automatically like that whilst they are still separate, one of them would break, and then I would have to think back and start at the beginning of the row. It was so tedious. So I ended up just rolling them together. Now it's quite strong and it doesn't break so easily. Initially, when I ordered the yarn for this project, I had 6 skeins, and that was going to be enough because I wanted to knit with just a single strand of yarn. It was going to be a lace weight shirt, but when I was working on it, I loved it. I loved the look and the feel of it, but I noticed that it was going to be so difficult for me to wear in a lot of weather conditions. That literally meant that I had to wait for a perfect day weather when it's slightly cool but not too hot. So to get that balance was going to be impossible for the larger part. So that's why I decided to work with 2 strands held together. But now the problem was that I had to order 2 more skeins in order to finish the shirt. So I did order those skeins. They arrived, but they were much darker than the initial yarn that I'd got. So as you can see, there's a difference, unfortunately. So I kept the last 2 skeins that I had whilst I was working on this and waited for the new yarn. So now it's the old strand plus the new one, so it doesn't get to be super dark. As you can see, I think you can tell the difference between the top and then here. I was just alternating working on the 2 lighter skeins and then working on 1 light and 1 dark, so that it doesn't have that very clear demarcation, but I think the line is still kind of there, and I have made peace with it eventually. So now I'm just working on the light and dark skein only, but as you can see here, there was a bit of some mixing before I just went with the light and the dark. I'm almost done with this. I think I'm left with about 5 inches, and then it will have a folded hem. There's not going to be any ripping on this one, as you can see. Okay, let me start with the back. So it starts here at the back with some short rows that I worked for shoulder shaping, and then you work a few inches, about 4 I think, and do this double knitted bend. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but I'm sure everyone's got a button down shirt, and there's always this seam at the back that looks like double knitting in the sewn shirts that we buy from the store. And then I worked all the way down and then picked for the front section, and then just after picking up stitches here, I did another double knit thingy. So the problem is that this hasn't been blocked, so it doesn't lie as flat as it should. So there is a bit of some double knitted bend here. I think you'll notice that with a lot of button down shirts, and it's the same on the other side, and it's got some crew neck. So it's going to have this short little collar at the top. And then I'm so proud of the sleeves. Let me show you the sleeves. The sleeves are worked normally. They've got some tapering. And then here at the back of the sleeve, the back is open. So this is some double knitting on the cuff, as you can see. And then I did a bind off at this point, and then picked up the stitches again. So this creates a very sturdy fabric. And then with the number of stitches that I had here, when I was picking up, I didn't pick up the same number, so that meant the cuff could easily cinch in without necessarily doing more decreases. So the cuff is double knitted, so it's double thick, and then it's got a button here. So there's one button here on the arm, and then there's one on the cuff. So I'm really proud of this. I still do not have the buttons. I think I'll have to go shopping latest on Monday for the buttons. The vision that I have is those, shell-like buttons that have maybe a bit of some beige and some cream. That's what I'm looking for this one. I'll be going to the shops to get some. I won't order online because I won't have enough time. My photo shoot is most likely going to be on Wednesday, so I need to be done with this top by then and get the buttons. So I have to do that on Monday most likely, and then I'll do a double knit button bend here. Like I said, there's not going to be any ripping on this one, so it's going to have a double button bend, and the pocket has already been knitted. It's just a stockinette pocket. I'll be sewing it onto the shirt soon. I wanted to work down to the hem and see how I fit it in properly, so I'll wait until then. But as you can see, it's almost done. I just need about 5 inches of the body, and then I start working on the button bend, and I'll have to also do the collar as well. So this one is almost done. I think it'll probably launch in January. It's got a lot of little details on it, so I want to have plenty of testing time. I think it's going to be out mid-January or late January, so it's still a very good one for the spring. I think it will launch just at the right time. It's warm. You can wear it on its own with just a camisole underneath, or you can even wear it under a blazer or under a coat. So it's gonna work for different weather conditions. And then the next one that I have is the Nyezi Pullover. Okay, so let me start by showing the back. So this is the Nyezi. It's a heavily textured pullover, and it's knit with Pearl Soho yarn as well. This is Pearl Soho Plenty in the color ash gray. Okay, so this is how it looks like. It's a drop shoulder construction, and the sleeves have the same texture and a very wide or long cuff in 1x1 ripping. Initially I had done a 2x1 ripping, but it just looked so okay. It didn't look bad, it just looked so predictable, so I ended up doing a 1x1. And I've noticed even with some items you find in the shops, that a lot of pieces, that knitwear pieces, have a mix of, sometimes you'll find 2x1 ribbing on the neck and 1x1 on the cuff and on the hem. So there's been a lot of mixing lately. I don't know if you've noticed it as well. So I wanted to do that mixing up as well. So this is the cuff for the sleeve, and then the neck band is double folded, which is what I was saying I'll do with that vest. I like this double folded neck. It looks so neat. And I also did the surface crochet here, as you can see. So everything's gonna smooth out as soon as the project is blocked. So that's how it looks. I haven't really gone very far with the body, but I've started on the second sleeve. I also need to shoot this one this coming Wednesday, so I'm working on a very tight schedule. So there's 3 items I need to finish before the shoot. That's what I'll be working on completely. I won't be touching anything else or casting on anything new. But after that photo shoot, there'll be a lot of casting on of new stuff, probably stuff that's launching January and February next year. That's what I'll be working on from next week. And then the other item that I have is something that you've seen so many times. This is the Zukhanye dress. I started working on it early this year. Okay, this is the front. So it's worked from the top down. It's got a scoop neck, but it's not that low, like crazy low. It's just maybe here where this necklace goes. So it's not that open, and it's sleeveless. So it's worked from the top down. So I had finished this dress. I had worked on it all the way to the bottom, and I had even done the pockets. But I underestimated the way it was going to drape. So when I was knitting, I was trying it on, and I gave it a bit of maybe 2 inches of some leeway for the increase, for it to sort of like grow, because this is 100% silk. I'll talk about the yarn in a moment. And then when I was trying it on before washing it, it fitted just fine. But after washing, it just grew so much. The pockets were sort of like on the thighs, which was ridiculous. If it wasn't for the pockets, then it was just plain to have been fine. But because I had done these inseam pockets, it just wasn't working out. I had to, so I tried to think back and to sort of like cut the fabric, join it together. But then because of this twisted rib in the center, this little detail in the center, when I tried to graft it, it just won't come out. You could see that line. And I was looking at this dress and thinking, oh, I can only wear it at home or whatever. And I realized that this is a large project. This is some very good yarn. I can't just waste it as something I can only wear at home. I want to wear it out. I want to dress up using this dress and wear this dress everywhere. So I decided to frog the entire section be underneath the pockets. So I've shifted the pockets up, and I think the most important thing, and this is going to be included in the pattern, is that before separating the front and the back, as you can see here, before separating for the pockets, it's important to actually block, like a proper block, not even stem block the top part, see how far it goes so that it doesn't go too low. And I think if possible, it's best to hang it whilst it's wet, so it stretches to its maximum stretch before you even join in the round to work the bottom part of the body. Because now I've joined, but I just joined like literally just now. I've only done about 2 rounds. The other thing about this dress is that it's A-line, so the increases start right from the top here. So as soon as you join in the round, you start increasing gradually all the way down, so it's shaped like this. The reason why I did it this way is because the fit on the bust and the fit on the hips sometimes just doesn't work out. Someone might have a larger bust but have narrower hips. So when you're knitting the dress, if you have to do waist increases and then you have to also consider the size of the hips, it becomes a bit complicated. So I decided to do it in a very simple way so that it starts increasing right here and it shapes out. So the most important area to fit is the bust area, and here your shoulder width as well. So if it fits well here at the top, the bottom doesn't really matter whether you have narrower hips or wider hips. Either way, the dress is just going to be flowing out. So I think that makes it such an easier way to fit. There's another dress idea that I'm going to be working on, and it's also going to kind of have some creativity around it to compensate for the different sizes of people's bodies from the top to the hips. So for this one, I'm using Purl Soho again. The yarn is 100% silk. It's 100% Japanese silk, and it's called I've just forgotten the name. I can't believe I forgot it. But this color is pale rose, and the yarn, I'm trying to remember the name. Okay, I've forgotten it. I'll just have to write it down. I always remember all my yarns, and I guess I took it for granted that I won't forget. But it's another project that I'm working on. So for this one, I'll probably be starting the test beginning of December. I'm hoping to be done with it by then. And then it's going to launch on my birthday, and that is February 24. I think that will give everyone that wants to knit the dress plenty of time to get it ready for the summer, particularly for those in the northern hemisphere, and even for those in the southern hemisphere. There's plenty of time to knit the dress and even wait for the Easter holidays. So it's going to be out February 24, and there isn't that much knitting on this project as one would think. So from this point to where I am, it's literally the same as knitting a regular summer top, because there isn't much knitting here because of this section that's got very little fabric. Up to the point of joining, there isn't really much knitting, so you only start doing quite a bit of some knitting here, and then when you separate the back and the front to get some space for the pockets, it really works out fast because you're working the rows are much shorter. So the majority of the knitting is on the skirt part, but even then, this is knitted at decay weight because it's yarn held double. This yarn is what do you call it? It's a fingering weight. So when you hold it double, it gets to a decay weight gauge. Initially, I wanted to work on 4.5 millimeters, but the fabric was going to be too light and too see-through, so I went down to 4 millimeters. So it's not that much knitting as I thought. It hasn't really taken that long for me to work on it. And then the last item that I have is still quite small. It's a pair of socks. I just cast this on a few days ago, and it's going to be some decay weight socks, and I'll be using this stitch pattern, this one here for this. Okay, I don't know whether you can see it. And the cuff is going to be 1 by 1 ribbing. The color, the yarn is African Expressions Joy. The color is 1029, and the foot, the whole body except for the cuff and the toe, the whole sock is going to be worked with this pink yarn. The color is 1039. It's a light pink. So those are the two colors I'll be using. I love colorful socks. You can easily use just a single color for this, but I just wanted to add some fun to it and use two colors. And now the yarn that I've acquired that I'll be sharing with you. I recently ordered this yarn from Cowgirl Blues. This is the label. I just caked up the yarn yesterday. So it's Merino DK, and this is Silver Fox, and this is Natural. So I'll be knitting a ribbed hat with this one. It's going to be my sister's hat. I'll launch the pattern though, and I'll take the photos before I send it to her. Well, I keep talking about my sister. For those who don't know, she now lives in Arizona in the United States. So she asked for a hat. So I got this yarn, and I'll be knitting this hat for her in two colors. And she asked me to knit one for a friend of hers too. So these are the two hats that I'll be doing. So this one is going to be a plain color. Her friend prefers, I think, plain colors. She doesn't like too much stuff. My sister loves colorful, bright items. So this is going to be striped, and this one is going to be a plain color. So it's going to be the same design, everything is going to be the same, and it's just going to be striped, and the other version is going to be plain. That's the next item I'll be casting on as soon as I'm done with the items I need to take with me for the photo shoot next week. And then I also ordered some yarn from African Expressions. So these are the cones. I got these cones. This is African Expressions Harmony, and these cones are color 2000, that's 2000. Then off-white. I have mentioned on my past videos that this year I decided to take some time to really look at what I needed in my wardrobe for each season. And as we were just in winter a few months ago, I noticed that I do not have a lot of white, like off-white items in my wardrobe, and sometimes it's very difficult to pair up things with all the different colors that I'll be wearing, like the browns, the very bright colors, sometimes the colorwork sweaters that I've got. So I decided to do a couple of off-white projects. So this is quite a lot of yarn. I think I can get 3 sweaters out of this. So the first one I'm going to be doing is a colorwork one, so it's going to have a bit of some colorwork, which doesn't make sense because I wanted some plain white, but anyway, I wanted to do a colorwork one in this off-white. It's going to have some black. This is still African Expressions Harmony, so the black is 2081, and some beige 2029, and some dark gray. This is 2062. So these are the 3 colors I'll be using for one. And then there's the second one is going to be a pullover, and it's not going to be a long one. This one will be, it's not going to be cropped. I think it's just going to be slightly shorter than what I normally knit, because I want it mainly for the dresses and the skirts. It's going to be a cabled pullover with some almost like balloon sleeves and a very tight cuff. I just want something with that very modern contemporary feel. It's going to be a plain off-white, no colors. And then the last one is going to be a cardigan. I hope I can fit all this in this yarn, because it's 2 kgs of yarn, and mostly I normally use maybe 600 grams to 700 grams. So I'm hoping I'll fit 3 projects, since one is going to be color work and the other one is going to be striped. The stripes are not going to be like all over, but there's going to be a lot of striping. It's going to be black and off-white. I hope the glare isn't irritating. The yarn is very light and quite bright. So this is going to be the cardigan. It's going to be black and white, and I hope it's going to look as good as I want it to. And then the last one that I ordered is this, is the African Expressions Love. This is such a beautiful yarn. Just check it out. It's some brushed mohair, and there's some merino wool as well. I don't know if there's any other yarn that's included here, but I know there's some brushed, I think it's 70% brushed mohair, but I'm also going to write that down and include it. But this is the texture of the yarn. So for this one, I'm going to knit something that's like a slip over. I've got one that was store-bought. It's super old, and it's not something that I can really wear in public anymore, but I love it. It's so comfortable. So it's just some slip over with just some a little seam under the arms, and it just falls. It's almost kind of like a poncho or something. I'm not so sure what to call it, but it's it's a relaxed fit, and I wear it over jeans and pants. So I'm going to be knitting this in an off-white color, and I'm thinking of what to do with the neck, whether to just make it a simple crew neck or to do a cowl collar that's just going to flow. I'll see once I've started knitting it. But I also got a con for this one, so I could have enough for the project. It's nice and soft, and it's very fluffy, and I think I'll be knitting this on 5.5 or 5mm needles, so it's going to be a very quick one. So that's okay. That's not all the yarn. There's just one little skein. There's this yarn that I also got. I just got this one bold because I wanted to use it for swatching for some ideas that I've got. So that's why I only got one. And honestly, the other reason why I ended up buying this single ball of yarn is because I was just a little short from getting free shipping, and the difference between adding this and paying for my shipping was going to be only 30 rand. I think in dollars, for those that use dollars, maybe it's about $2.10. So I figured, you know what, I might as well add some yarn, use it for swatching, because I've always wanted to use this type of yarn for some swatches that I've, and some ideas that I'm working on. So that's all the yarn that I've bought in the past few weeks, because I haven't recorded for almost 2 months now. So there's one other project that I'm working on that's also launching on Thursday next week with the Naleli Pullover. It's a cowl that uses some leftovers from my Kruger wrap. So it's going to be a cowl that uses all those yarns, because I had enough yarn left to do another project when I did that one. So the yarn is the cowl only requires about 9 grams of different colors. So if you've got scrap yarns, or if you've got some leftovers from an advent set, that's going to work out just fine with that one. So it's coming out as well on Friday, and I'm also finishing up on that one, getting it also ready for publishing. So yeah, that's all that I've got. I have a lot to cast on, as you have seen, and I'm so excited about it. But for this week, I just need to finish these projects, go out for the photo shoot. And I've noticed that photo shoots are the best motivation for me to finish projects. Every time I've got a photo shoot, I get stuff done, I get stuff finished on time. So I'll be shooting more than 8 items, which I've never really done. I've only done 4 or 5 at a time, but this time I've got a whole pile that needs to be shot on this photo shoot. I think I'll do an outdoor one. I'm planning not to do a studio shoot. The weather is really looking good, so I'll most likely do an outdoor photo shoot this coming Wednesday, and I'll most likely shoot another episode that other week, because for this week I'll just finish up stuff, and then the other week I'll have a lot of stuff that's on my needles, and most likely I might have just a head or two as a finished object, but it will just be a few items. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be sharing some more stuff with you on my next episode. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye bye.